Welcome to Inside the Line, presented by BetMGM. Joined by Aaron Schatz and John Daigle, I'm Olivia Harlan Dekker. The wildcard weekend is finally here. Let's take a look at how Super Bowl odds have shifted now that we're in the playoffs. Not a ton of line movement from the top dogs. Both the 49ers and Ravens odds shifted 7%, but Baltimore's odds improved while San Francisco's dropped. Winning the AFC East gave the Bills the 2 seed, improving their path to the Super Bowl and their odds, jumping to plus 650. That's almost 20%. While the Cowboys also got the 2 seed, their odds slightly improved to plus 750. We're not just picking the Super Bowl winner, though. We're going to name the finalists. So, Aaron, which two teams are playing in the big game? We were talking about it earlier, but I'd love to hear your reasoning.
As much as the market likes the Ravens and the 49ers, my DVOA numbers at FTN Fantasy like the Ravens and the 49ers even more. The Ravens are the 5th best team since 1981 by DVOA, trailing only the 2007 Patriots, 91 Washington, 85 Bears, and the 2010 Patriots. The 49ers are the 8th best team since 1981. So even with Ravens 49ers as the favorite, I think plus 300 is great odds for a Super Bowl 47 rematch. I would have this closer to plus 150.
Wow. Okay, I like that. John, which Super Bowl finalist bet is catching your eye?
I love the analysis from Aaron, and I believe those are the two teams, as the numbers suggest, should be the favorites. But the only other one I've reached for off the board is the long shot one in a second AFC team. Basically, if you bet any other team in the AFC to come out of it, except the Ravens, you are getting longer odds. And that's okay because the Chiefs are not sexy. The Chiefs aren't attracting anyone. They're not fun to watch even. But the fact is, they're still an amazing offense. They're just doing it a different way now because Isaiah Pacheco has arguably become a more important player to this team this year than Travis Kelce. If you look at Aaron's numbers at FTM Fantasy, the Chiefs are still top 10 and yards and points per drive as well. So you match that with a defense that's continuing to shut down opposing wide receivers and passing games with their elite pass rush. And I think the Chiefs are the dark horse here to come out and play the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Okay, I like that. So we've looked big picture. Let's narrow in now. Forget the future. It's time to focus on this week's action and look at who the public is betting. All season, the public's been winning. No surprise, one of the most bet games features America's team. 77% of early bets are on the over between Packers and Cowboys, which has seen the total move up 2 points from where it opened at 48.5. John, are you fading or siding with the public on this total?
I am siding with the public. I can't call which team will come out. If anything, I'd like to take the hook on the Packers and get those 7.5 points to cover my touchdown. Other than that, though, I don't know how either defense stops the other side. Even for Joe Barry's unit in Green Bay, they've benefited the past 2 weeks from playing Nick Mullins in the second half since we know Jaron Hall got benched. And then last week, Joe Barry has quietly had Justin Fields' number in their 6 games the last 3 seasons. And so the fact that they've benefited from plus matchups now, but they're still the same unit that's been run over all year long. I think it's a successful day for the Cowboys offense. And then you tack on the volatility with Jordan Love, plus the injuries in Dallas's secondary. Both offenses get there, in my opinion. So yes, I'm siding with the public too.
I like it. Aaron, how do you see this game playing out with the total?
This one is a no play for me. I have my projection only a 0.5 point different from the line. Obviously, yes, this is going to be a high-scoring game given how strong the Cowboys and Packers offenses have been over the second half of the season and how bad the Packers pass defense is, plus the fact that it is being played indoors. If I was forced to bet this, I would go with the over 50.5, but I am much more comfortable just staying away.
All right, let's take a look at another game the public is loving, but discuss the spread. This is the game I'm working this weekend. I'll be on the sideline for Chiefs Dolphins. I think 5 degrees Fahrenheit is the kickoff temperature, so that will surely play a factor in this game. Miami travels to frigid Kansas City for a rematch of the Week 9 game in Germany. The Chiefs won 21-14. Remember, at one point, they were up 21-0. The public is expecting a similar result, with 73% of early bets and 85% of the money on the Chiefs to cover the spread. Aaron, are you fading or siding with the public here?
I am actually going to fade the public on this one, and I'm going with the Dolphins +4. Yes, we want to account for all the defensive injuries for Miami, and we do not know yet if Jalen Waddle will be able to play for the Dolphins offense. However, the Chiefs' DVOA has gone from 5th on offense and 8th on defense in the first half of the season to 10th on offense and 18th on defense in the second half, not including week 18. And the Dolphins secondary has been playing at a very high level since Jalen Ramsey returned. The freezing cold also should increase the chances of a closer game, so I'm going to take the Dolphins and the 4 points.
Okay. John, what do you think?
I unfortunately am on the other side of Aaron, and I still like the Chiefs to cover the number here. As we talked about earlier, I'm still going to back the Chiefs money line and probably parlay it with a few underdogs this week. We'll get into that at the end of the show, but I still like the points given that I expect everyone, including L'Jarius Sneed, who's been so important to that Chiefs secondary, to be back in this game. Not only that, but we've only seen 4 full games that Isaiah Pacheco has played out of the Chiefs' bye, and in those contests, only Christian McCaffrey has rushed for more first downs. Again, it's not the same ceiling that we expected from the Chiefs passing offense in the past. They're just an entirely different unit because they're getting it done on the ground. And I still believe in that method against, as Aaron noted, this completely banged up Miami defense. So I do like the Chiefs, and unfortunately favoring the public again.
All right, let's check out some trends for teams this weekend as they begin their road to the Super Bowl. The Browns, Cowboys, and Lions all dominated against the spread as favorites in the regular season. Each team covered over 70% of the time. Well, they're all favorites again this weekend, with the Cowboys by far the biggest favorite of the group at 7.5. John, which one of these teams' trends continues and covers as a favorite?
I don't like any of them because I think it's a big dog week based on how teams match up. Whether you start on Sunday and look at the Texans against the Browns, I think CJ Stroud is very live at home, not to mention the Rams arguably being the better offense than Detroit. Just go through the list, and it's going to be a big dog week, in my opinion. So I don't like any of the favorites personally outside of Kansas City.
Okay, Aaron, which of those 3 favorites are covering this weekend? Is there one that you like?
No, I'm going with John. In fact, I'm going even further. I am not backing any favorites to cover this week. My system, based on DVOA and adjusting for injuries, picks all 6 underdogs to cover. The closest game to picking a favorite is Rams at Lions on Sunday night, because as good as the Rams offense has been in recent weeks, the defense is unexciting and the special teams are terrible. I would go with the Lions, but the line has to move below -3. It's probably not gonna, so I'm going all underdogs.
All right. Okay, I like that. Let's discuss another trend, but this time for totals. So the Chiefs were the best under team in the NFL at home this season, with all but one home game going under. The Buccaneers hit the under at home in 6 of their 8 games, covering 75% of the time. And the Texans and Bills were also great at hitting unders at home. Both teams' unders covered over 60% at home in the regular season. Aaron, which home team's trend continues with the game going under?
The forecast for Sunday afternoon in Buffalo is calling for temperatures below freezing and 29-mile-an-hour winds. We don't even need to talk about an improved Buffalo defense in recent weeks or whether or not Mason Rudolph is any good at quarterback for Pittsburgh. That weather right there dictates that we go under 35.5. That is the home trend that is going to continue going under on Wild Card Weekend.
Okay, John, of those 4, did any stick out to you?
It is the Chiefs for the very same reason. Not only the weather, Olivia, that's going to perhaps freeze you to death, but also the fact of what these offenses have become and the Chiefs and Dolphins still being explosive rushing attacks. I think given how they're going to approach that in particular attack, that it's going to drain the clock enough really to keep this one under. So I like an unsexy under game where the Chiefs cover.
Okay, I like that too. It's time to find some leverage now in the market. I figured you 2 were the right guys to ask. We're going to share our favorite alternate lines for any bet this weekend. John, where are you finding leverage with an alternate line this week?
I'm taking the Steelers 10 points all the way down to 3 to still cover a key number. I've also sprinkled on the money line for all the reasons that Aaron mentioned. You can throw mostly everything out the window given the gusts that are projected over 50 miles per hour. And now we're talking about 2 running attacks since we don't think they'll have success through the air. And as I mentioned earlier, we saw the Dolphins did have immense success on the ground despite the Bills' defensive numbers getting better over the second half of the season. 6 yards per carry last week until they just leaned on only 3 running back carries for whatever reason in the second half. That's how the Steelers want to play, not only without Matt Canada, but with Mason Rudolph, who hasn't attempted more than 28 passes in his 3 starts. So I think the Steelers lean on Najee Harris, and they keep this one dangerously close, taking it all the way down to 3 for sure, just to get that number.
Okay. Aaron, what alternate line are you eyeing?
I'm going to buy half a point and take the Houston Texans +3 against the Cleveland Browns in the first game of the weekend. Now, Joe Flacco has been a good quarterback so far for the Browns, but I think we know more about Flacco from his entire career and the last 3 or 4 years, not just a handful of games. In the long run, he should be average at best. The Browns are 13th in weighted DVOA, which gives more strength to recent games, and the Texans are 14th if we take out the offense from the 2 games that CJ Stroud did not play. As good as the Cleveland defense is, I think these teams are overall balanced against each other, and the Browns are the kind of defense-first team that is likely to slow down the pace and win by a field goal. So Houston Texans +3 for -130 is my favorite alternate line.
All right. Let's check out some more spots for value price market exchange. We're going to tell you which lines we believe are mispriced, resulting in good value. Aaron, where do you see a misprice in the market this weekend?
My mispriced line is Baltimore Ravens at +325 to win the whole thing. I've already spoken about how good the Ravens are historically based on DVOA ratings. Right now, I would take the Ravens over the field to win the AFC Championship, even with Buffalo playing so well in recent weeks. Then we get to the Super Bowl. The Ravens would be favored over any NFC team other than the San Francisco 49ers, but my numbers would actually still favor the Ravens by a small amount in a rematch with the 49ers. I feel the 49ers and Ravens should have the same odds to win the Super Bowl, as the Ravens are a little bit better, but the 49ers have an easier path. So with the 49ers at +225 and the Ravens at +325, that latter number is a mispriced line.
All right. It'd be great to get that rematch. We'd love that one. Okay, before we wrap up the episode, we're giving you our blue chip bets, aka our best bets. It can be anything we love: spread, money line, total, prop, whatever we want. John, what is your blue chip bet?
Aaron has the Dolphins covering against the Chiefs, so we differ on that. I think it's a safer play, though, given that both of us love the dogs all weekend long, to tie a Chiefs money line into a round-robin parlay with the dogs. Whether that be taking the hook for the Texans at getting 3.5, the Packers getting 7.5, the Bucks getting 3.5, or maybe even money lining them all together if you want to live a little dangerously. But either way, my favorite blue chip bet is starting with the Chiefs money line and then banking on all the dogs for the rest of the weekend.
Okay, I like that play. Aaron, what's your blue chip bet?
Well, I like a specific dog on Monday night. My best bet is to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win outright on Monday night against the Eagles. The Eagles are now down to 21st in weighted DVOA, which gives more strength to recent games, and the Buccaneers are 15th, so they're better. Tampa Bay is a very average team in almost every way except running the ball, where they are bad. But the Eagles aren't even quite average anymore, especially their pass defense, which is down to 29th in the league. If the Eagles blitz Baker Mayfield, they are really in trouble because Mayfield has been better against the blitz than without one this season, and the Eagles do not have the depth in the defensive backfield to put their guys on islands. My system favors the Bucs by less than a point, which is enough for me to go with the money line, which is currently +135.
Okay, keeping an eye on both quarterbacks' health will be big in that one too. Guys, thanks so much for all of your input and advice as always. Thanks for you watching at home. You can catch Inside the Lines every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week.